Hey guys, Mr. Morgan here with another remote learning instructional video. So today is Wednesday, 10/14. Today we are going to continue our Section 3 notes talking about the governments that we see in the region of Southern and Eastern Africa. We see two primary governments, and we're going to talk about the difference between those two. So quick reminder that today, 10/14, is the due date for the Nelson Mandela Bio 2 assignment, as well as the Nelson Mandela writing assignment. So let me know if you have any issues with those two assignments, and we can figure out what we need to do to make sure that you can get it done on time. Those two assignments are first grades for the second term, and I want to make sure that everyone gets off on the right foot and we get started with 100% in the class for this term at least. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started on our notes. We don't have a whole lot to go through today, so let's get it done. Okay, Chapter 2, Section 3, we are focusing on today in Southern and Eastern Africa. We are talking about government. So we see two types of government in this area. We see democracy. So some types or examples of democracy in Southern Africa. One of the most democratic governments in the region is the country of South Africa. So we talked before about apartheid when we were talking about history. After apartheid ended, we had free and fair elections that produced a stable government in the region. So South Africa is our prime example of democracy in this area because the ending of apartheid allowed for all people to get the right to vote, and we see that results in the election of Nelson Mandela. However, the new multiracial democracy has faced some hardships. So the lingering legacy of apartheid results in inequalities in the area. So one example of this is Black South Africans are on average much poorer than their white South African counterparts. So we see inequalities in things such as healthcare, education, living arrangements, job potential, education. I think I already said education, but we see differences and inequalities in all sorts of aspects like those, which result in a lot of the Black South Africans being much poorer than the white South Africans, and a lot of those. So now we're going to talk about democracy as a whole. So democracy is one of the two types of governments we see in the area. The definition of democracy is a form of government in which citizens hold political power. So democracy is a government run by the citizens through something like a vote. So a pure democracy would be everyone in the country voting and basing all elections and legislation on the results of those votes. We often see democracies in the form of things such as republics, which have an elected body. So characteristics of governments. Government is run by elected officials. Elections are free and open to all citizens. Citizens are guaranteed certain rights and freedoms protected by the government. Citizens can participate in government and have the right to disagree with the government. So every citizen is able to run for political office or join a certain political party or anything they would like. Another characteristic of democracies is that it imposes limits on government power to make sure that the government does not get too strong, so that not any one person can get too strong. And then we have schools, television, radio, and news are all allowed and unrestricted. This is an important aspect because in a democracy, if we restrict certain things like the media and press, then they can only say certain things, and we see people are able to much easier get in power and be corrupt and get away with certain things. So now talking about our second one, dictatorships. We see a bunch of different kinds of dictatorships in the area. One example is Sudan. Sudan is a dictatorship in the region. The country calls itself a republic, as they have president and an elected official. However, President Omar al-Bashir rules by force. People cannot participate in the government, and they are forced to be ruled over by this President al-Bashir. He has final authority on nearly every measure when it comes to the government of Sudan and can do essentially anything he wants. He has unbridled power and unrestricted authority on everything. Another example we have is Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe also has been a dictatorship in that they have a single political party that has held onto power for more than 28 years. So we see two ways that people can become dictators, or we can have dictatorships in the region. One is rule by force. So think of things more like a North Korea, where there is one person in charge and he rules over everyone else and doesn't let anyone else be in charge. That is an example of a dictatorship. There are no elections. Zimbabwe, however, does have elections. However, the elections are often rigged, or there is only a single political party, so you can only vote for that one person. So some basic characteristics of dictatorships. The definition of a dictatorship is a form of government in which power is held by a singular person. So power is held by a singular person rather than the democracy where we have power is in the common man and the entire population as a whole. Some characteristics of dictatorships: one individual or group holds all the power. Leaders can gain power through force or military action and is often hated or feared. Citizens have no voice or power. If you speak out against the dictatorship or the dictator, you are often removed or punished in some sort of way. No elections, and if elections are held, there is only one choice, or they are rigged. And then schools, television, radio, and news are controlled by those in power and are only allowed to say certain things that are approved by the dictator, or they are given things specifically to say. So these are our two forms of government. Now we have a graphic organizer that you can find in the attachment for today. It will be titled Democracy versus Dictatorship. So you can open that up, complete that, and then we are done for the day. There is, however, a chance to quiz yourself on the differences between democracies and dictatorship. There will be an open quiz, Quizlet, or I think it's a Kahoot that you guys can practice on your own to see if you know the difference between democracies and dictatorship. It'll give you an example of a situation, and you'll have to choose whether it is democracy or dictatorship. Okay, so the graphic organizer for our differences between our two types of government. So our two types of government, again, are democracy and dictatorship. So if we look at our two, we can see that there are two columns. On the left is democracy and on the right is dictatorship. So there are a couple of different boxes. Each one says a different thing. So our first one is characteristics. So you're going to look at your notes and you're going to put 5 characteristics of each. And then you're going to put, the next one is examples. So you're going to put examples. So one example needs to be an African country, an example of this in the region of Southern and Eastern Africa. And then another example needs to be one outside of Africa. So it could be someplace in the Americas, or it could be someplace in Europe or Asia, wherever you want. So one African and then one non-African example. Next is picture. You can either go to Google Images and copy and paste something, or you can just draw it using the pen tool on your iPad. Either one will work. And then last we have definition. So you can copy down the definition from our notes, and then you can put the definition in your own words. So that is all that we have. Once you finish this, then all we have left is the Kahoot practice that you can do on your own to test and see how well you know, or how well you can figure out the difference between the two. So that is it. I will see you guys tomorrow when we talk about what is next. I think what is next is we're going to finish up our notes for section 3. And then we have, I'm going to pass out the vocab map. So our vocab map will be due Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, Wednesday, the day of the test. Test will be 10/22, or 10/21, so a week from tomorrow. So with all that being said, I think that's it for today. Have a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.